Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley virtual event, something that we like to call Chesterton into the Valley. I'm half of your hosting team. I'm Jim Cunningham.
And I'm the lesser half, Rusty Cath. Now, many people watching may be saying, Chesterton of the West, St. Croix Valley. That's right, a new school is opening up in Stillwater, Minnesota.
Indeed it is. And hey, they just took possession of their new building. It happens to be this one, right here where we're standing. What a beautiful building it is. We're going to have plenty to show you about this new location and this new school as the evening continues. But first, wouldn't be a Catholic event without an opening prayer. So we'd like to introduce you to Father Michael Eisen, pastor of St. Mary's and St. Michael's Catholic Churches in Stillwater. Good evening, Father Eisen. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you, Jim. Great to be with you and honored to lead the prayer. Welcome, Chesterton Academy, to the St. Croix Valley. As Jim mentioned, I'm the pastor of St. Michael's and St. Mary's. I'm coming to you from the St. Mary's Rectory Chapel this evening. So let us pray. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Loving God, we praise you and we adore you. We thank you for the gift of faith. We thank you for the gift of Catholic education. Ask for your continued blessing on Chesterton Academy, especially as they move into the St. Croix Valley. Ask for your blessing on any students who are discerning to attend our high school. Those our current students, bless all of our students, bless our faculty, bless our donors in a special way tonight, that they may be aware of your generosity to them today and always, and share that in the effort to spread Catholic education for our high schoolers. We ask all this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Father Eisen, before we let you go to continue to bid on all these great items for the silent auction, just tell the audience, you're pretty excited to see Chesterton move into your neighborhood?
Oh, it is exciting. These are strange times, so it's good to know that we are still on track. I saw the new building months ago, and then of course things have changed with this pandemic, but I'm glad to hear that Chesterton is still on track, and to have that Catholic option. As you know, I have a St. Croix Catholic School pre-K through 8, so to have that Catholic option for our high schoolers is just huge. And of course, I know we have a lot of alumni already in Chesterton, and many future 8th graders looking at that as well. So it's a great blessing.
Father Eisen, make sure to sit back and enjoy your evening, and we'll reach out to you soon to come back for the closing prayer.
Right.
Okay, terrific. Thanks. God bless.
Thanks, Father Eisen. While the Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley is opening as a new school in the fall, it's actually the 21st Chesterton to open across North America and Europe as part of the Chesterton Schools Network, which we'll get into briefly. But this new school is actually about to wrap up its 3rd year of existence, but under its original form as a satellite campus in St. Paul of the Chesterton Academy of the Twin Cities, located in Hopkins, Minnesota.
Kind of a long story, and we'll certainly get you up to speed on it, but this event is a way to introduce you a bit to this G.K. Chesterton fellow, as well as the new school opening in the St. Croix Valley. I can guarantee you, the founding families of Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley are thrilled with their new home.
As well they should be.
Yeah.
But before we get into it, we want to remind you that there is a silent auction currently underway, and it will be going until 10 p.m. this evening. There are some incredible items up for auction, including something from a literary master. To see all the items, just go to bidpal.net/CASCV. That's bidpal.net/CASCV, acronym of Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley, in case you
CASCV. I just figured it out now and finally got it. We're going to showcase a few of the items as the evening continues on. Now, all proceeds from the auction and cash donations this evening, they will benefit the Fund a Need for financial assistance.
We'll also want to say a special thanks to our sponsors tonight, all of whom you see right there on your screen. We'd also like to thank all of the teachers and administrators of Chesterton Academy for their hard work and dedication during the first 3 years of our existence.
I tell you, traveling back and forth between campuses, as well as all the great work you do for our students, Looking forward to a new dawn here in Stillwater, as we'll be seeing many of you back in our new campus.
And later, you'll see a performance from the students who will be learning right here in this building this coming fall. Don't miss it. Okay, now then, what exactly is Chesterton Academy? Let's go back to the archives a bit and learn more about Chesterton Academy.
This school started mostly for selfish reasons. The other co-founder and I, Tom Bankston, we were trying to figure out where we were going to send our kids to high school, and we were not really happy with any of the options that we had available to us. And one day over breakfast, we just said, well, why don't we just start a high school? How hard can it be?
As we were looking to start the school, we were thinking about the legacy of John Paul the Great, John Paul II. His whole message was we needed to overcome the culture of death with a culture of life. That was our charge. We thought the most meaningful way to manifest a pro-life charism, if you will, would be to keep the tuition low. The school is really built on three pillars, and those are Catholic identity, classical curriculum, and then affordability. Not only does that manifest this idea of celebrating life, but it also passes on an important lesson to the students. We teach that you can do a lot with a little.
G.K. Chesterton sort of represents a model of what a complete thinker is. He does represent the kind of thinking that we want our students to not only imitate, but to embrace. Chesterton has something to say about everything, but he weaves it all together. We are trying to live out the idea of there is a whole truth to things, and in knowing it and speaking it, we are happy. Chesterton himself says that's not what is being taught in our schools today. He said that 100 years ago.
That's just a small sampling of this school. Right now, I'm going to send it over to my pal, Rusty, who is with our first guest this evening, the co-founder of Chesterton Academy and president and co-founder of the Society of Gilbert Keith Chesterton, Dale Ahlquist. This segment presented by our friends at Schubel's Heating and Air Conditioning. Rusty?
Dale, welcome, co-founder. First of all, cheers to the gala as well.
Cheers, it's great to be with you virtually at the gala.
Thank you for joining us.
All right.
Yours looks a lot better than mine. Dale, for those who don't know, we're now opening up the 21st campus. This one going to be St. Croix Valley. But for people who don't know, let's go all the way back to the beginning. It's a new beginning for the St. Croix Valley. But take us back to 2008, starting this whole thing off with what I believe was, about 10 students?
That's correct. Our first school, Chesterton Academy, which opened in St. Louis Park in a old public school building, that we had 10 students sitting around one table, a combination of freshmen and sophomores, but they were all taking the same curriculum and all staring at each other as if they were being tortured, wondering, what have our parents done to us? We opened up the school in the fall of 2008, and if you remember anything about that year, just a couple of weeks into the school year, there was a stock market crash. The school, after the first year, we had 20 students. And then in the third year, we had 40 students. And then 80. We doubled each of the first 4 years. And by the fifth year, we had people calling us from around the country who'd heard about the school, asking, how can we do what you're doing?
So the West Side campus is doing great. It's growing. I guess tell us, how did the East campus come about?
Some folks from the east side of the Twin Cities said, well, we don't want to drive all the way over to St. Louis Park. And so obviously these people living in the East, very selfish-minded people, they only were thinking about their own convenience. But there were enough of them so that we said, we probably could start a campus over in the east side and just run 2 campuses. In fact, we originally were looking at Stillwater for that campus, but things did not line up there. And we finally found a campus on the east side of St. Paul, very small. And, we knew going into it, that it would be a temporary campus. And when we started to reach our capacity, we had to find that new campus. And the Archdiocese said, you need to find the place where you're going to be. And some suggestions were thrown out there. We thought we had a new campus that identified a new location on the east side of St. Paul. There were obstacles that we could not overcome.
Yeah, so tell me, faced with that new challenge of not being able to open something in the East St. Paul area, again, what were your options?
There we were suddenly back at Stillwater again as the best option. What we realized at that point was that the West Campus had also moved farther west from St. Louis Park to Hopkins. And with the East Campus moving farther east, we realized it was no longer practical to try to run one campus or one school from one campus or with one administration. So we met with a group of parents from the East Campus and said, we cannot keep the campus open on the East because you have to move farther east. We want to help you get an independent campus started, a new campus in the Chesterton Academy Schools Network.
I'm sure that was hard for them to hear. And how did they respond?
It was really remarkable. We had people who, they'd had the experience of 3 years of our curriculum. They wanted to stay with it, and they wanted their kids to have the complete Chesterton Academy experience. And as we realized, as we moved east, we could serve a new clientele even farther east into western Wisconsin. And Paul Loomis and others, found a space that was really just a perfect facility. And everything started falling into place, but, one amazing challenge after the other. What I've learned, Rusty, it's a group of dedicated parents who are willing to overcome a lot of obstacles and a lot of opposition to get a school started. And it's that dedication that really contributes to a fantastic experience for their children.
So tell me too, like for people who don't know, so what separates Chesterton? What makes it so special? What is it that school does that's different from anywhere else?
Well, three things. And I'm going to add a fourth. Since it's three, it's got to be four. We have a curriculum that is really integrated. We use that word a lot, but what we teach in one class is connected to what we teach in another class. And unfortunately, the approach of most schools today, whether they're public or private or even sectarian schools, is they teach each class without any overall philosophy of what's being taught in another class. So the student's not taught to think cohesively and coherently and connectedly. So what you teach in history is connected to what you're teaching in literature. And history is telling the story of salvation. Well, literature is retelling the story of salvation. What you teach in math is connected to what you teach in philosophy, because you're teaching how to think, how to reason, how to solve problems. What you're teaching in science is connected to what you're teaching in art. And that's fantastic, because most people don't understand. The secular world thinks that arts and the sciences are two different things, and if one kid starts showing any interest in art, they stop teaching science to that child. And that's just the opposite. You need to understand that we are made in the image of God, and we are creators. That's what God is, a creator. We are made creators, and art is about creation, but it's also about understanding design and proportion and beauty. And science is about creation, because what are you studying? You're studying God's creation. You're studying the mind of God when you're studying nature, and you're studying design and proportion when you're studying science. And those two things go together because they're both an understanding of beauty. And then there's also a connection overall with everything connected to one thing, which is the incarnation. That's what informs everything we teach. So the integrated curriculum is the first thing. We teach 4 years of philosophy and 4 years of theology, because you have to teach faith and reason, and that's how you develop the whole person. And then the arts, we emphasize the arts not as an option or as an elective, but everybody studies studio art. They learn how to paint. Everyone studies drama. They learn how to act, get up and present the truth, and they all sing. They all, singing is required, which they really understand beauty and that proportion of God. So the daily mass is critical to what sets us apart. The arts and the philosophy, the integrated curriculum, and then remember what I said about those 10 miserable students sitting around that table. We bring a spirit of joy to the classroom and to the school. And when people visit the school, that's what they also experience. Joy, Chesterton says, is the gigantic secret of the Christian.
I like that you said too that the community becomes better because of these kids too.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had the great experience with the West Campus now moving into what's virtually a small town setting in Hopkins, right on Main Street. And in Stillwater, you're going to have that exact same experience. You're going to be part of a smaller community. You can kind of get lost in the suburbs, and so you're going to be an active player in a community where everyone's going to know about you in the St. Croix Valley, and the students and the school itself will be contributing to be an active part of that.
Dale, thank you so much for taking the time. Congratulations on all the work you did, and congratulations on one more school, number 21, St. Croix Valley. Cheers.
A great blessing to me. Cheers, Rusty.
Makes me want to go back to high school to learn about that stuff. We're going to continue the story on the challenges of opening a new school for the founding families in just a moment. But first, we want to remind you, donations are being accepted right now. You can donate any denomination from $10 to $1,500 or whatever you want. Don't listen to me. You do what you want. It really doesn't matter as long as it matters to you. That's what's important. To do so, just go to bidpal.net/CASCV, or you can text CASCV to 243-725. There's all sorts of great items like the one referenced earlier. Check out this autographed letter from author J.R.R. Tolkien, one of my absolute favorites. He sent it to British Ambassador Sir Oscar Morland for his assistance with the index of the Lord of the Rings books. Folks, this is an unbelievable item. Place your bids now. You've got until 10 p.m. for this one-of-a-kind treasure. Now, I believe that Rusty is ready with our next guest to help you all understand a little better how there can be a Chesterton in Hopkins as well as here in the St. Croix Valley, not to mention 19 other campuses around the globe. Joining Rusty from the Society of Gilbert Keith Chesterton, Emily DeRothstein. Rusty?
Hey, Emily, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you. I see that you joined by some special guests. You brought the Holy Family with you.
I did, yes.
Very good. So for people who don't know, tell us a little bit about your origin story with Chesterton, how that all came to be for you.
Sure. Yeah, again, my name is Emily DeRothstein. I'm the executive director of the Society of Gilbert Keith Chesterton. And one of the most important works of the Society is the Chesterton Schools Network. I got involved in Chesterton Academy myself when my oldest son entered Chesterton Academy in the fall of 2009, and our family's experience was completely transformative. I joined Chesterton Academy in 2011 and served as a founding executive director there for several years and helped start the Chesterton Schools Network, which is a network of schools around the US, Canada, and Europe, and have been very involved with Paul Loomis and Annie Loomis and Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley since they first inquired about a possible Chesterton Academy campus on the East Metro back in 2014.
So that whole process began 6 years ago.
Yes. Yeah, I got a phone call. Actually, I got an email from Annie and Paul in March of 2014 asking if they could come and visit me to talk about the possibility of starting a Chesterton Academy campus serving families in the East Metro of the Twin Cities. And they came and visited me, and I told them I was very sorry. I did not think it was going to be possible for us to open an East Metro campus. And Paul Loomis called me the next day and said, I still want to help, even if you don't think you can open up an East Metro campus. And Paul was instrumental in helping us produce our very first professionally produced promotional video, which really helped us tremendously. And that began an incredible working relationship that has led us to where we are today.
I know your job now, you help facilitate new schools into becoming part of the network. What is that process like?
The process to become a member of the Chesterton Schools Network involves a multi-step process where schools first determine whether there's enough interest in their area to support and sustain a school. And Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley went through that process. It involved feasibility studies, business plan writing, meetings with donors. And once the Chesterton Schools Network leadership team has an opportunity to review the business plan, we're able to formally sponsor them as a member of the Chesterton Schools Network and the Society of Gilbert Keith Chesterton. And again, the society is a worldwide lay apostolate, and now Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley will be one of those important member schools, evangelizing and educating families in the St. Croix Valley.
What is that process like over the course of 6 years to be able to have the school finally come to fruition?
I have to say I am so grateful to the families of Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley. Their persistence, their perseverance, their unwavering vision and dream for a Chesterton Academy that would serve their families. It's really beautiful. We cannot thank them enough for their perseverance over these past many years.
I'm just wondering, now that we finally get to the point, we got a building, we got a campus, we're able to open the doors, how important it is to get those fundraising efforts going right now as St. Croix Valley tries to open their doors in 2020.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're looking for donors to reward the persistence and the perseverance of our founding families at Chesterton Academy of Croix Valley. I want to thank our families for their commitment, and I want to thank in advance our donors for matching that commitment and perseverance with your donation and your generosity, because we know that the school is going to be transformative, life-changing for so many families in your area. And we know that this is the future of the church. The students who graduate from Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley will be the future families and the future parishioners in your area, leading parish ministries and really helping to build up the church in the future. So say yes to that with your donation and your generosity.
You know, you're talking about, transformation. These students that we've seen them showing up to the city council meetings and the planning zoning meetings too. These are incredible students who are looking to transform themselves, the businesses and the community in the East Metro and beyond.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to say, I am convinced now more than ever that our students will transform the culture and they will contribute mightily to the workplace. We are in the middle of a crisis that we've not seen here in the United States, an unprecedented crisis. And our students are not giving up. They are studying hard. This incredible work ethic, this incredible commitment to excellence. They've actually doubled down, focused, delivered on their studies, contributed in many, many ways to the community. And I just have to say the work ethic and commitment of these students is remarkable.
Transformative, I think it's the right word. You said it was transformative for your family, and hopefully it'll be transformative for the families in St. Croix Valley as well. Emily, thank you so much for the time and for all your work.
Thank you so much.
The St. Croix River Valley really is going to benefit from the growth of these kids just by having a wonderful new option for their high school students.
Yeah, very, very cool
Welcome
indeed.
back.
Thank you very much. Now, Jim, in a little bit, we've got, well, things to get into you over there, and I've got some interviews that you're going to have to go set up and do too. Before then, so many great items still available in the silent auction.
Yeah, we have such items as a signed jersey from members of the Minnesota Wild.
Hey, yeah. We also got a Harrison Smith signed Vikings helmet, got a Kyle Rudolph autographed football, and so much more, as you see there. Huge thanks to our friends from across the sporting world.
Hey, folks, go to bidpal.net/CASCV to bid or donate, as a matter of fact. Now, folks, the parents and board of directors have had all sorts of challenges getting this school ready for the fall, one of which was the political landscape. Quite the challenge to land this building for the school. The parents, led by Larry Keller and Paul Loomis, looked at about 12 locations, with Paul finally asking their commercial real estate agent, John Whitcomb, about this building.
Now, after some initial discussions with the owner, Roger Keene, serious talk started, and a 7-year lease agreement was made. But that's when things got a bit tricky.
What many weren't aware of is this building, well, it certainly operated and looked like an office space and is surrounded by other office spaces, was actually zoned as industrial.
Yeah.
Schools can't go into an industrial zone. So the parents filed a request with the city for a special use permit. But as you see here, the city informed the parents they will recommend denial of that request. Here's why, as presented at the Planning Commission meeting the night before Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Chairman Lauer. Paul Loomis of Chesterton Academy has applied for a zoning text amendment and an associated conditional use permit to allow for the property at 1835 Northwestern Avenue to be used for a school. The property is located in what is called our Business Park Industrial District. The building, however, was built as an office building. So again, the zoning text amendment specifically is to allow for those schools by conditional use permit in the BPI district. There's kind of two approaches in this circumstance. One would be if schools would be allowed to limit the size of the school or to reassess the zoning to something that might be a little more complicated in the city's process and given the applicant's request. Staff finds it really hard to support approval of the request to modify the Business Park Industrial District. We think a better approach could potentially be to rezone the properties. As it sits, staff would recommend denial of the application.
Now, while disappointed, the parents knew if they could get the Planning Commission to not recommend agreement with the city, all they needed was for them to punt the decision to the City Council.
If they were able to get that, they had a chance.
In July of just this year, we were directed to open a new campus in the Stillwater area by the Archdiocese of St. Paul and Minneapolis. Several key factors went into searching for the right location for the school. Number one is the safety of the students and the faculty. Second key factor was accessibility to our out-of-town families. Growth was another factor. We wanted a building that we can grow into. The fourth issue was daily mass. As part of the Chesterton Academy Association, we need to have daily mass that's required for our students. Either we were near a Catholic church for the students to attend mass there, or we would simply install a chapel within that building itself. And last but not least was costs. Not only the affordability of the rent, but we were also looking for a location that would not cost us a lot to move into. After viewing the location, it was determined this building met all of our requirements.
As you can see behind me, we have a number of parents and students from our school who have delayed their plans for the holiday weekend to be here to show the enthusiasm for our location. And this is really what Chesterton Academy is all about: commitment, faith, Christian virtue, and community. The bond these children share is a sight to behold, and it stems from what Chesterton Academy is all about in its approach to instruction. We see an immediate benefit to the geographic area on Northwestern Avenue through various activities, including daily mass, communal gatherings, service-related initiatives, and ministerial outreach. As a religious assembly, Through our Catholic faith and practice that will take place in that building, we bring an additional communal element to that area, which already is rich in nonprofit and communal use by the surrounding buildings.
Now, the Planning Commission acknowledged that the way the area was zoned for industrial needed to be changed.
And while they all agreed that they would like the school here, they weren't sure a special use permit was the way.
I don't think there's any question that this would be a positive addition to Stillwater. The question is this a good spot for it? Industrial use whether it seems like it or not, it's a very important use. And whether we have a lot of it or not, it's important to have it available. In this area, if we take what has been an office building for so many years and is surrounded by office buildings, and we say that needs to be industrial, then we're creating, I think, a problem where there isn't one right now. If we approve this, if we think that it's a good value to add to Stillwater, how can we do that in a way that is more conducive to what we want the future to look like?
So I'm supporting, again, denial of the request and approval of the concept, and we just got to work toward it.
It seems, at least in my humble opinion in this moment, this is one of those prime examples to pass on to the city council.
Yeah.
The city code says when accountability is an issue, you can punt it, essentially.
Are you comfortable in punting it?
I'm absolutely comfortable in punting
Just
it,
saying,
yeah.
okay, we're not going to decide. We're going to let this go with the way it is without our yay or nay to city council.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes 5-0.
Good luck.
So in the eyes of the parents, that was a huge win. Now they just had to bring all the families and students back a week later to get in front of the city council.
And from what I've seen on the dedication of the students here, their outgoing attitudes coming here tonight, the parents, I think it's an absolutely fantastic opportunity for us as Stillwaterites to have a high school, Catholic high school, come here to Stillwater. So I'm honored that you're considering that with us.
When you look at the zoning, what goes into the BPI, we allow offices, libraries, art galleries, theaters, performing arts, government facilities, research facilities. I see no reason as to not allow this.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that passes with 4 votes. Thank you all for coming in.
So a huge victory by receiving the special use permit to operate this school in this building for the parents of Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley. Okay, now let's throw it back over to Rusty. I think they are all set now. Rusty, you were joined, I believe, by the mayor of Stillwater, Ted Kozlowski. Rusty, Mr. Mayor?
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining me, Mr. Mayor. Cheers. Welcome to the gala.
Thank you.
You know what? Diet Coke is even better out of a champagne flute. We'll get one of our people to send one up.
Perfect. Yeah. Have my guys send one up.
So you've been mayor since, I want to make sure I got my numbers right, since 2014, from there originally too, right?
Yep. I grew up in Stillwater, went to Stillwater area schools, then to Madison, Wisconsin for college, then San Francisco, New York, Boston, Buenos Aires, Charlotte, North Carolina, and then back home when my wife and I got married and had our first sweet little baby girl.
All over the world, then back to Stillwater. Okay, so I guess perfect for people who don't know, we'll have people not watching just in the St. Croix Valley, but all over the world, maybe all over the solar system. We don't know. Tell us a little bit about your hometown. Tell us about Stillwater.
You know, Stillwater's great. I grew up here, so and I'm the mayor, so I'm a little biased, but you know, it's a beautiful river town. When we were really young, we moved from Toledo, Ohio, which really wasn't the safest city at the time. And so just being in Stillwater with its history as a child, I grew up right on 6th Street between Olive and Pine. So I was right in the old part of town, right on the South Hill. I could ride my skateboard downtown. I could go jump in the river. I've never, ever jumped off the Stillwater Lift Bridge. And by no way could I ever encourage that. But it was absolutely a beautiful place to grow up. But I honestly, I never thought I was going to move back to Stillwater. You know, it's kind of, when you become 18 and you get that itch to get out and see the world, I really didn't know. But then, you know, the minute you mature a little bit and you see the world is when you realize how beautiful this place really is and how special it is. So I'm blessed. I love this town.
Yeah, it's a great place. I have friends who just day trip there. Say, I'm all right. You know what? We're not going to try and go do a big vacation. We're just going to do a day trip just to Stillwater because it's a wonderful place to visit. And as things open up, hopefully in the near future, people continue to do that. So Stillwater, know why we're here. Now we'll have a Catholic high school as well, Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley, opening up this fall. Now, we just watched a summary video of the zoning challenges that Chesterton had to face with new building to move into. There was something that actually kind of struck me during the city council meeting with one of the president of the board of directors, Paul Loomis. Actually, guys, do we have that clip? Check this out.
Go.
I mentioned last week that everyone in this room, especially yourself, should be very proud of the very rich and storied history of Stillwater. Stillwater historian Dom Epson has stated that never in that history has there ever been a Catholic high school. And tonight, we can make history.
That just sounded interesting to me too. The long history of Stillwater and never a Catholic high school before.
Yeah, we've always had the Catholic elementary school and middle school. It kind of, you know, they go K through 8th, and a lot of people attend there, and then they go into the public school system, which of course out here they're great, right? I mean, it's great to have all these different options. So it was kind of surprising to me. I thought at some point there had to have been. I always just made the assumption that at St. Michael's, they probably went K through 12 at some point in its history. And that was kind of a surprise to me to hear that, you know, it's really always been that way. And we've never had a Catholic high school in Stillwater.
What kind of responses have people had to having a Catholic high school coming in?
You know, I think they're excited. I know, you know, my kids went to St. Mike's. They don't currently attend there, but they went to St. Mike's for a couple of years. And I know those parents. I know a lot of those parents. And I know they're excited about having another option in town. I think, you know, really the kids, that council meeting was one of the most fun council meetings I've had as mayor. And those kids were so impressive. I think, you know, whether it's about the faith-based aspect that you guys bring to it, or just the really good kids and the great teachers and the parents that are involved, I think everybody's really excited to have more options, right? The more options we have for our kids, the better our community is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, there was a great showing of support at those city council meetings, the planning zone meetings. I mean, yeah, I guess what were you thinking when you saw all those students show up for it?
You know, Logan was the guy.
Right?
Yeah. Student Logan, man. Honestly, like if we didn't vote, I was afraid if I didn't vote for this thing, he was going to run for mayor and win. You know, that kid he was good. He was really something else. But I mean, the students, they were so articulate. The parents were great. The teachers that spoke were great. It was very well presented, and it felt like they were already a part of our community. I mean, I couldn't be more proud. It really made you want to have those kids and those teachers as part of our community. I mean, it really did. There was no way this wasn't going to happen, and you guys needed a home, and I'm really glad Stillwater's the place where you guys landed. It's perfect.
I want to get to Logan in just another couple of minutes. Logan, you know, who might be running against you in another few years. We don't know. But like you'd said before, Stillwater is a great school district. I know it was when I didn't attend there, but it's always been regarded as a really great district. So I guess now with a Catholic school opening, there's so many things that make Stillwater such a great destination for families to move. I got to think this is just one more to add to that list. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, our district's always been really highly regarded. And we've got great schools, great elementary schools, and great choice. And having kids myself that have moved through a couple of different schools, you know, even as much as my heart wanted them to attend the same elementary school that I did, which was Stonebridge Elementary, you know, it's a great school. I have friends whose kids do really, really well there, but it wasn't a good fit for our kids. And so just having that choice, I think, is really important for the community and for parents. And I think what you guys do, and me as mayor, I had to learn about it, you know, because we were voting on it. It's really cool. It's a very unique thing that you guys have. And I love that we have that opportunity now right in our backyard.
I want to get back to Logan. I'm pulling up a video of him here too. Circle back to those city meetings. Now, the Chesterton student body, they were really well represented. You mentioned Logan Connolly. He was a highlight at both meetings. And I want to play a quick clip
when he got up to speak at the Planning Commission.
Awesome.
Hello, guys. How's it going?
Great.
Thank you guys for being here today. So my name is Logan Connolly. I live 69th Street East, Denver Grove Heights, right? So Southeast Metro, right? And so just to put a name to a face, I'm the prefect president of the student body back there, right? And we just want to let you guys know that Stillwater looks absolutely awesome, right? I mean, I grew up in Minnesota, but my family's from Chicago, right? So I had only been to Stillwater once, right? Because my buddies live here. And holy cow, let me tell you, I really hope you guys strongly support this, pass this forward, because Stillwater's awesome. There's no town like it in Minnesota. And I'm not just saying that to flatter, right? It's really great. And so we as the body of students would love to be part of this community to help grow and hopefully be future neighbors of you guys one of these days. So any questions for me or?
Did you get elected to your position?
It was one of those meetings where, you know, I should have showed up, but.
There's a little talent there. Right? There's some talent there.
That's good. Thank you. Tell me that's not priceless, huh?
Oh man, those kids, dude, they're great. Absolutely priceless.
He was equally as engaging at your city council meetings too, wasn't he?
He was. I mean, that kid, and all of them spoke, and they were all so good. I mean, that kid, he's just got the natural. He's got the gift, man. I wish I could say he reminds me of me at that age, but I wasn't that cool. So, you know, I wouldn't be worried about that kid's future for anything. I wish I could bet on it. He'd probably run my company better than I do. I'd like to hire him.
Mayor Ted, thanks a ton for the time and for joining us. And look forward to chatting with you again soon in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Cheers. Take care. Everybody have fun and be safe. And I'm looking forward to the next school year.
Thanks, Mayor Kozlowski. As Dale Alquist mentioned earlier in the show, the arts, big part of Chesterton Academy, not just the liberal arts like philosophy and literature, but the arts. Check this out.
For me, it's his thankfulness, this gratitude that comes through in everything that he does. He just, he loves life. He's very grateful for every aspect of existence. And, you know, that resonates with me very much as an artist, that I feel, especially in regard to nature, I see it and I'm just very grateful. And I want to tell other people about it. I think that's a lot of what motivates many artists, is to just tell people, to share, you know, this gratitude that they have for the things that they see around them. And I think Chesterton was very much that way, very joyful kind of person.
I've had an amazing experience at Chesterton Academy. It took the arts and made you a whole person with them. I think a lot of times people get really, really focused in the arts and they forget what the goal is and what the purpose is. And at Chesterton, it's really about making you a whole person and giving God glory and showing the world His beauty.
Such as I am, myself and what is mine, you and yours is now converted.
Chesterton talks about the importance of art and how it makes us different from any other creature on earth. And so it's a very critical part of who we are. And that's one thing I'm so grateful to see at the school here, is that they realize that art is part of what it means to be a whole human being, that appreciation for art, hopefully helping them to really look at nature in a way where they're observing carefully and learning from the things that they see. But then you do see those students who are gifted and who find that giftedness and didn't know it was there. And so it's very gratifying and very fulfilling to watch what they can do when they're given this opportunity. And so it's very rewarding. It's a wonderful experience, a privilege to be here.
Incredible. Art's such a a core part of the Chesterton philosophy. I send it now to my favorite performing artist, Jim Cunningham, with a special guest.
Joining us now is the man from that video, arts instructor for Chesterton Academy, Mr. Tim Jones. Tim, how are you? Thanks for joining us this evening.
Oh, you're very welcome. Happy to be here. I'm doing well.
Good, 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 good. Say, that video about the arts we just watched, super cool, about how the beauty all around us in the world fits so well into all of the arts. People speak to your amazing ability that you have to help draw out artistic talents in students that they maybe never knew was there. How are you able to tap into that and get them, to get that out of them?
Well, I have to credit really the way the school was founded. This commitment to the arts was something that was baked in right from the very beginning. So they're very committed to drama, theater, very committed to this wonderful music program that we have. And so the interest in art was already there when I came on board. We're taking them through a systematic sort of approach that assumes that things like observation and drawing and things can be taught and can be learned and can be developed, right? That it's not just something that is sort of randomly gifted to people. It assumes that it's something that can be taught and learned.
I know parents who were sold on sending their children to Chesterton specifically because of the student art they've seen when they were touring. Now, in some ways, your art class is a major marketing tool for enrollment, right?
I don't often think in those broad terms that way. I know that's true, that people have come to the school being impressed by the work of the students that they see, at the gala, the paintings and things like that. I'm astonished right along with them. Every year I'm surprised and just delighted at what they do. And again, it's mostly just this idea of asking them to do it. We're going to ask you to do something that's hard, but they respond so amazingly well every year.
Finally, why don't you give me a brief overview of the building blocks of learning art, let's say from your freshman year all the way through your senior year?
Okay, well, just generally, ninth grade, we just learn a lot of very basic drawing techniques or ways of seeing too. So we start out with simple line drawings. The first thing we do every year is go out and draw some pictures of leaves. And there's no preparation for it. I don't really give them much advice, just kind of go out and draw. But then we learn fundamentals about how to see, the kind of things to look for, what's really essential. And we start with very, very broad look at the structure of things, and then filling in details from there. And so things like perspective, how to make things look like they're in a real three-dimensional environment. It's just very fundamental drawing. Then 10th grade, we introduce a lot more different media. So we get into color theory and calligraphy. We do some calligraphy 9th grade too. And pen and ink techniques and things like this, charcoal. And so they get a lot of experience with different kinds of media. Just introduction to different media, 10th grade. 11th grade is all oil painting. So oil painting is my first love. It's the thing I love the best. And it's natural to me to make that sort of the focus the last couple of years. So, and then senior year, they really are looking at creating one great piece that reflects their interests and what they would like to say with their art that last year, within bounds and with some guidance, right? I have a big library of master paintings that I've accumulated that they can look at for inspiration. And a lot of them do studies of masterworks, and that's an old time-honored tradition of studying the masters. And so the senior year is really where they have a chance to put a lot of focus and work in on one project.
Tim, we can't thank you enough for joining us this evening. It's a topic that we could spend a lot of time on, and we appreciate you being a part of tonight's festivities.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm happy to be here and happy to be in my position. I'm grateful every day for what I do.
Good. We're going to continue talking about the arts now. We're going to switch to drama and choir. Rusty is going to interview somebody next. Rusty, who are you with?
Yeah, thank you, Jim. I am joined by Caroline Metzinger, the choir and drama instructor at Chesterton. Thank you so much for joining us. Cheers.
Oh, cheers. Cheers, cheers.
I should have sent a champagne flute over for you. My
I
apologies.
know. I know.
Hey, first off, I want to talk about the play. Now, you were supposed to have the sophomore and junior play in April, got rescheduled. I want to talk about the rescheduling in a little bit. But first, tell me about this play a little bit more. I believe it's called More Bodies, Please?
Yes. So, of course, you'll have to come to the play to figure out what it's all about. But it's a murder mystery comedy with our, well, now current juniors and sophomores, but they'll be seniors and juniors when they do this play. But it's a play about someone, or maybe more than one person, shuffles off this mortal coil, and it's a whodunit. It's great. It's hilarious. They do a great job. It's written by Dale Ahlquist. I should probably point that out. Dale Ahlquist, one of the founders of Chesterton Academy. So super talented gentleman playwright. He's great. So.
I didn't know Dale wrote that. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, he's written a number of plays. So yeah, he did a great job. Come see it.
Will do, and I love that you're getting to involve the kids who didn't have a chance to do it in April, still get a chance to do it this fall. Now, I want to talk about the rescheduling of it.
Yeah.
So Chesterton, whenever you move to a new community, you're trying to become a member of it. It seems like Stillwater's already embracing this new school, which is why I want to give a big shout out to Zephyr Theater.
Oh, absolutely.
We've done all sorts of things to make sure that the new school has a location for the play. Tell me about that.
Yeah, Paul Loomis hit us up with Zephyr Theater. Our contact there is Calissa. She has been absolutely phenomenal. Just a joy to work with. And it's exciting that we actually get to be in the community that the school will be in. Builds up that community spirit. And hopefully more than just the Chesterton community will come and see it. The people from Stillwater will want to come and see the kids at work.
Plus, you're going to want to find out who done it.
Exactly.
That's
Yes.
very, very cool. Let's
My
go.
lips is
So let's go from drama to choir. So for the last 3 years, you've been choir director. You'll continue on in that role. I guess for those who don't know, tell us a little bit about the role that choir and music has in the entire Chesterton theme and what Chesterton really wants its students to get out from music.
Right. I think the arts have a tendency to be given, I shouldn't say a bad rap, but not really a big focus when it comes to a whole school activity. So one thing that Chesterton has been really, really fantastic at, especially through music, so many people, so many kids are fearful. They're not given the opportunity to sing, and especially when you're in a choir setting, I think a lot of that kind of dispels all of that fear as to, oh my gosh, can I sing? I don't sing. Am I too loud? Am I too soft? Do I sound bad? And I think the group together, which sounds fantastic, can give someone the confidence to really step out of their comfort zone and to embrace something that they've not done before. Chesterton, part of the curriculum requires everyone in the school to take choir. Beginning sophomore year, they take drama for 3 years. And then beginning freshman year, they all take art. So the arts are a really important part of Chesterton. And we think that the arts, well, we know that the arts, can really help round out our personality and bring out things that we wouldn't necessarily think were in us. So choir is a beautiful way in which we can give back to God what he's given us, sing his praises, but also just the fact that every single student gets to be part of the choir is phenomenal, but also what they can do is mind-blowing.
You know what? So speaking of singing, there was a really wonderful send-off. Now I know students from the East Campus, they're about to become students from the Chesterton of the St. Croix Valley, been part of the, hey Nate, how are you? Nate stopped by. He didn't even say hello. Hey Nate. As we send him off, there was actually a really wonderful send-off for the kids
who are becoming now Chesterton of the St. Croix Valley. I know they're always involved in the gala in Minneapolis. And this last January, there was a really wonderful send-off for these kids as they're heading to the new school. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we were kind of brainstorming how to feature that group of students. And we figured that one of the best ways that we can do that is when the whole school gets up and performs, you know, a song or two at the gala, which is just beautiful. So I am a big musical theater person. I love it. And one of my favorites is The Greatest Showman. So it's the song A Million Dreams from The Greatest Showman really stuck out to me. We have worked hard to try and establish the East Campus, now St. Croix Valley. And it's been a dream of ours for a really long time. And we thought, you know, what better way to send off our students? But right at the beginning, the East Campus students came out and we sung the first part of the song together. And then as a sign of support and a sign of, you guys have got this, the rest of the school, the 170 students from the Hopkins campus came in behind us and just joined in with us and sang the rest of the songs. I've got goosebumps right now. It was so great. And so that was just a really beautiful moment that, you know, we started out, we got this really small group, we're supported by this community behind us, and through their prayers, we're just going to go and we're going to rock it over there in Stillwater. So that's kind of the reason behind A Million Dreams. It was fantastic. It was a beautiful thing.
It's wonderful. And you actually believe, I'm checking in here. Yeah, we have that clip so people can experience that moment. As we send off you, Carolyn, thank you for all you do and continued success now in the St. Croix Valley. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much, Rusty. Take care and God bless.
As we send her off, here is that send off she was talking about.
Wow, that was really great,
the
wasn't
world
it?
can be, man, something else, huh?
I'll tell you what, this really is a special school, folks. The families, the students, and let's not forget the city and overall valley.
Now, to be as welcomed as we have been, it really does feel like we're home. I mean, this is just about another option for parents to consider. A place that goes just back to the basics: liberal arts, humanities, philosophy, science.
With God central to all of it. Because of that approach, it's affordable.
And with everything the determined families of Chesterton here in the East Metro and Western Wisconsin have been going through, I think Emily DeRothstein said it best: let's reward them for all they've had to endure, especially over the last 13 months to get it here in the St. Croix Valley and ready to go.
Ready to make joyful, intelligent students determined to serve God and their fellow neighbors and communities. Folks, please consider a financial donation to reward these founding families for all of their hard work and keep this affordable.
Now, as we start to wrap up the show, I want to remind you to make a financial donation. Just go to bidpal.net/CASCV. Well, there you have until 10 p.m. to peruse those silent auction items. Again, bidding will end at 10 p.m.
Remember, due to the COVID situation, there's likely going to be a delay in shipping items to the winners. You'll get your items. We're just unsure how much COVID is going to slow down that shipping process.
Now, with that, I want to welcome back Father Eisen for our closing prayer. Father Eisen?
Thank you. I hope you all had a great evening. I want to thank you for your support of Catholic education and your support of Chesterton Academy. So I will close us in a prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Loving God, we thank you for the gift of life, which we have through your Son, Jesus Christ, and we thank you for the gift of faith and the gift that you have called us all to spread the good news. Bless the efforts of Chesterton Academy to do just that, and bless all of our donors who have generously supported our school and continue to support our school. We ask all this through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Thank you. God bless everyone.
Thank you, Father Eisen, and thank you, all of you, especially those who have donated to the cause. We've got one last special video for you, but before we present that, we want to thank all the donors, our amazing sponsors, our silent auction item donors.
Yeah, the Chesterton teachers and administration, all of our guests this evening, and the founding families of Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley. Be sure to keep up with the websites for the Greater Stillwater Chamber of Commerce,
the Hudson, Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce,
and the New Richmond, Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce for updates on business happenings and show support for their local businesses right here in the St. Croix Valley. Jim, it's been a heck of an evening.
Boy, it really has, Rusty. It's a great cause. Folks, keep bidding, keep donating. And for more information about Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley, or to donate after 10 p.m. tonight, go to chestertonscv.org. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and YouTube.
Yep, and we're going to leave you now with this last video message from the parents and students of Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching, and God bless.
Everything about Chesterton Academy feels right. Number one, the Catholic faith and how it is taught, but not only taught, but lived on the campus, in the classroom, in the lunchroom, on retreats, on trips and other outings our students participate in. And you know, you hear about integrating the Catholic faith into all aspects of life, and I think that's what the staff and the teachers here at Chesterton do so well.
Chesterton is where I want to be.
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 Chesterton is where I want to be.
Where I want to be.
For those of you who are participating in this virtual mini gala, I want to tell you it's a great privilege to have been involved with this school. The only reason that it has made it this far is because of people like you who have reached into their wallets and helped support it. It will not work unless we can get that extra support. So please be generous. This is a difficult time, but God rewards that generosity. And so today, really consider prayerfully how you can support this school, and you will be blessed as I have been blessed and as all these students have been blessed all across the country. God bless.
Chesterton is a school.
Is a school. Is a school. Is a school
Filled with joy.
Is a school filled with joy. Filled with joy.
and wonder
And wonder.
And common
sense.
and gratitude.
These students, they'll take this, this identity and we'll give them a place to work from, a culture that they feel like they inhabit. Our modern world strips those sort of things away from people, belonging to a tradition or to a heritage.
The culture of life.
The culture of
The culture of
Culture of life. Culture of life.
Culture vitae. Culture vitae.
Culture vitae.
Chesterton says if Christianity is true, it's a truth that affects everything. And I think that's the way we teach at school. That truth affects everything else.
Please consider making a donation
To Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley.
Chesterton Academy of the St. Croix Valley.
the St. Croix Valley. St. Croix Valley. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.